Hey guys, this video is a huge milestone because it is my 50th video on my channel, and I honestly never thought that I would be making 50 videos. And since August of last year, which was 2015, I can't believe that this is now my 50th video on here. That's pretty amazing. And if you're wondering why right now I have no visuals, it's because for my 50th video on YouTube, with how I've been talking in recent months about how the Flyers and Kings should have had throwbacks instead of new designs for their 50th anniversary jerseys, if I don't do a throwback video for my 50th video on here, I would be quite the hypocrite, wouldn't I? So I just thought that it would be nice to kind of do a little bit of a throwback for this video due to that reason. But anyway, I'm going to move on and talk about what I'm going to be talking about in this video. And to be honest, guys, with some of the things that I have seen from Adidas in 2016, in terms of both the Canadian Football League, for you Canadian viewers watching this, as well as hockey in general with the World Cup of Hockey, you know what, guys? I'm honestly going to miss Reebok making the NHL's jerseys, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about why I will miss Reebok when Adidas takes over at the end of this 2016-17 season that we're getting to the halfway point of already. So, I understand that when Reebok first took over in the 2007-2008 season, that there were so many uniforms that were just not good, and that season has been dubbed by many people as the quote-unquote Reebok Ellipse. And that is for a reason. Quite a few teams during that period really wrecked their uniforms. For example, the Buffalo Sabres and the Anaheim Ducks. Now, I understand that they made their changes in the 06-07 season. However, those uniform changes happened with Reebok as the NHL's jersey manufacturer, just in case anyone's wondering. Now, also, other teams that had major downgrades include the Dallas Stars, the Calgary Flames, who still have not done anything about their uniforms, the Colorado Avalanche. I still can't believe that the Colorado Avalanche haven't even done anything about their main home and away jerseys after all of these years either, especially Colorado. Calgary's are bad, but I think Colorado's are even worse. But I think that may just be a matter of opinion. And one team that I thought was just the worst of the worst was the Edmonton Oilers. Goodness me. I don't even know how their old uniforms were even approved back in 2007. Now, other teams to mention that got downgrades were the Florida Panthers. I thought even the Philadelphia Flyers. I hated their Reebok Edge look. I'm so glad that they went back to their Broad Street Bully look of the 1970s. That uniform, that 70s look for the Flyers is by far their best, in my opinion, and it's my favorite of all the looks that the Flyers have had over the years. Now, a few other teams to mention here are the Pittsburgh Penguins. They trashed their uniforms back in 07, and in fact, they even won a cup last year wearing their old white Reebok Edge jersey with the Vegas gold on it. Am I ever glad that Pittsburgh has finally woken up and smelled the roses and has gone back to their early 1990s uniforms full-time again. Also, the St. Louis Blues, I mean, their Reebok Edge jerseys had vertical piping on the front to imitate the iconic St. Louis arch. I mean, just because something's iconic doesn't mean you should stick that on a uniform. Jesus, Murphy. Even the Tampa Bay Lightning, I mean, they took their uniforms that actually weren't too bad and made them just on a Reebok Edge template. Same with the Senators, too. And I don't know what the hell Toronto was thinking, but they took their waist stripes off. Like, why? Who thought that was a good idea? And also, you know, I mean, when you look back, I mean, so many teams had just wrecked their uniforms. They just trashed them. And it's really sad. But then you look up, now you look at 2016 now, which in a few days will be January 2017 as of this video. And I look at the NHL now, and I must say, since Reebok has taken over, the NHL has come a hell of a long ways in terms of the uniforms. Sorry, guys. Got a bit of a cough. But, you know, teams like the New York Islanders, the Philadelphia Flyers, the Edmonton Oilers, now even the Pittsburgh Penguins this past off-season, thank goodness, have all gone back to old retro looks that are fantastic. Really good looks that should not be changed. I mean, over the years, I mean, there have been multiple teams that have really come a long ways in terms of uniforms. And I honestly think that when Adidas takes over, I mean, there could be an Adidas apocalypse, but I think that when Adidas takes over, it's not. There's going to be a period where a lot of NHL jerseys, or some NHL jerseys, won't be as good. I mean, when I look at now, compared to the 07-08 season, Anaheim has gone to their Webbed D logo full time, and they even have a pretty decent Anaheim Mighty Ducks inspired orange third jersey. I mean, the Buffalo Sabres, although I think they should be in royal blue and gold, not navy blue, with pit stains and piping, or gray pit stains and piping. You know, even their uniforms are a huge step up from what they were wearing back in the 07-08 season. I mean, I can't believe they even approved the Buffa Slug. I mean, I look at Dallas, for example, another team. I look at the Dallas Stars now compared to 07. And even if you want to get even worse, you can look at in 2010 when they made their white alternate that just said Dallas on the front, their main full-time away jersey, and retired the other one that was the only one that had a logo on the front. So it was practically the exact same as their away jersey from the 07-08 season, except it matched their black jersey because it said Dallas on the front, and it had a number underneath the word mark. I mean, if that isn't the definition of pathetic uniforms in hockey, I don't know what is. And although I don't really like the Stars' new logo, their uniforms are so much better. I mean, I also look at the Edmonton Oilers. Their three jerseys are some of the best in the NHL. They really are. And even the Montreal Canadiens, they've gone back to having a lace-up on their jerseys. At first, I didn't like it. But now, I think it was the right move. It looks great. It really does. Even the Nashville Predators. I hate all the vertical piping on the jerseys. I don't like it. I don't like Nashville's jerseys having all that vertical piping on it. But let me tell you, they actually have a unique identity. They are the only team in the NHL with a full-time golden yellow home jersey. I mean, that's pretty good. As for the St. Louis Blues they've even gone to an older look from the late 90s, 2000s. That's actually a pretty damn good look. I mean, I wish that their home jersey did not have as much navy, but compared to the Reebok Edge jerseys they had, goodness me, their current jerseys are a drastic improvement. I mean, even the Toronto Maple Leafs, they got a brand spanking new logo this year that was an upgrade, a facelift of their old logo from the 1940s. I mean, that was fantastic that they did that. It's about time. I've been wanting Toronto to go to an older logo for a long time. And it's great that they did. I mean, you know, a lot of teams have got huge improvements with their jerseys since Reebok has taken over. And I even felt the same way about the Canadian Football League back in the day. Back in 2012 when they changed a bunch of jerseys and gave them upgrades. I mean, there were teams such as the Hamilton Tiger Cats that their uniforms under Reebok were my favorite in the whole Canadian Football League. I mean, they had stripes everywhere. Everything just looked good. The black and gold, the black stripes on the gold pants. I mean, the Tiger Cats had one hell of a really nice look. Even the Edmonton Eskimos, their home jersey was fantastic. I mean, I'm not saying their new Adidas home jersey's bad. I just think that compared to their old one, it's not the same. I loved all that striping on the arms. And it was very similar to the old Warren Moon era Edmonton Eskimos of the 1980s. I mean, you know, it was a great look. And even the Toronto Argonauts. I mean, sorry to be going on about CFL teams, but I want to mention them here because I feel the same way about that league as I do with the NHL. And, you know, now that Adidas has taken over the Canadian Football League's jersey contract, to be honest, compared to what they were wearing a year ago, league-wide in terms of uniforms made by Reebok, I honestly feel that Reebok has done, so far, in my opinion, did a better job. I don't like a lot of the Adidas uniforms that have come out. I just don't. And I feel like overall the CFL kind of got a bit of a downgrade in a lot of ways. And I have this bad feeling that when Adidas takes over the NHL's jersey contract next season, that'll happen as well. Maybe not to as many teams because thankfully the CFL did a league-wide redesign where the NHL, that's definitely not going to happen. Not with teams like Pittsburgh or Toronto or the original six. That's for sure. But when I look at teams like maybe Nashville, San Jose, I mean even Columbus, I mean I could definitely see Adidas going up to a team or two and saying, hey guys, want to play around with our Tech Fit template and our Adidas ultra modern designs? And somebody will say yes. Somebody wants to use the opportunity to pump out some new merchandise. I guarantee it. And one team that could use it, if it's done right, in my opinion, is the Colorado Avalanche. I mean, their uniforms are just bad. They've got vertical piping, side panels. Oh, their uniforms are just a mess. And instead of getting new home and away jerseys, all they did was slap a new shoulder patch on their home and away jerseys. That's it. Oh, and they came up with some Colorado Rockies inspired third jersey, which, to be honest, you guys, I have never liked it. I just do not like the modernized Rockies logo that they came up with. Like, either use the old Rockies logo or don't use it at all. That's how I think about it. Or they should just go back to the drawing board and come up with something new. But anyway, I mean, with Reebok, I mean, I like the collar design where it's just got a basic collar and an insert stitched underneath with the NHL logo on it. I also like their lace-up collars. I don't even mind their mock tie-down collar, which isn't a lace-up, but it is, where it's got just the two strings, the two pieces of lacing instead of a laced-up collar, if you know what I mean. Where it's just got the two pieces of string rather than a whole lace-up collar. That's what I meant to say. But, you know, now with Adidas coming into the fold, in recent years I've been seeing teams go with plain, more simple looks, which in a lot of cases isn't bad. it's better than going with overcomplicated craziness like we saw back in the 1990s, or 20 years ago now. But, you know, it's just, in my personal opinion, I think that since Reebok has taken over, there's been a lot of good progress in terms of NHL jerseys. And with Adidas getting ready to take over, and with the looks that we saw at the World Cup of Hockey this past September, you know, I just don't know what the hell to think. I mean, I hope that Adidas just basically continues on with what we've got right now under Reebok, but if the CFL's jersey changes uniform changes were any indication, I guarantee, I'm going to pull a Don Cherry here and guarantee that there will be some changes when they come in. Hopefully, they're not too big, and hopefully they're not too significant overall, and hopefully the changes that they do make are upgrades. But, you know, guys, to be honest, I was not impressed with the World Cup of Hockey jerseys. I really wasn't, and I think I mentioned that in my last video. In fact, I'm positive that I did. So sorry to be going on a tangent about the World Cup of Hockey jerseys for a second consecutive video. But for me, I mean, on the topic of Adidas, I mean, after seeing those uniforms and seeing how half-finished some of them looked, I mean, I know it was only for a 2-week event, but, you know, it's with the 3 stripes on the sides of every jersey, it's, I don't know, guys. I'm sorry to be sounding negative again about Adidas, but I just got a bad feeling. I really do. And I hope that they prove me wrong, and hopefully somebody who works for Adidas is watching this, which I'm positive that they aren't. But hopefully somebody says, hey, this guy's right. Just let's stick with what works, and the teams that have ugly uniforms that need to be changed, like the Avalanche, like the Flames, get good, decent upgrades. And you know what? If you want to go with an innovative third or an alternate uniform once in a while, go for it. But keep it just for that. Rest of the time, just keep it simple, stick to what works and what looks good. But, you know, also, speaking of that, speaking of recent years, I mean, with the Stadium Series, there's been this push for more modern looks, new templates. Like, there's this new massive rectangular shoulder yoke template that even the Toronto Maple Leafs have got on their new uniforms, which is an Adidas template, by the way. But, you know, some of these templates and this concept of having ultra simple jerseys with no waist striping, like the Avalanche new third jersey, the Florida Panthers new uniforms, they're very simple. Just a chest stripe on the front, absolutely nothing on the back. Bare on the back. I mean, the Arizona Coyotes new uniforms, no waist striping, none. Even this year's Stadium Series jerseys, Pittsburgh has no waist striping. The Flyers have a little bit of orange trim on the bottom that's a little bit thicker than the average bit of trim on Pittsburgh Stadium Series jersey, for example, their 2017 one, which is the one I'm talking about here. But, you know, things like that. I mean, even with the Vegas Golden Knights, which I still have to do a video on that, which I will be doing that soon. That actually will be my next video, in case anyone's curious. But for myself, I mean, even seeing the Vegas Golden Knights logo, I mean, to be honest, if that's Adidas' first NHL design, I'm not impressed. If that's the type of look we're going to get under Adidas, where you can definitely tell it was just a bit of messing around on a graphic design program on somebody's laptop, I mean, I'm sorry, but that's something like that is not what I want to see the NHL become. I mean, if the NHL wants to try some new stuff with the odd alternate or Stadium Series jersey, I would rather they just stick with that rather than pushing that for new home and away jerseys or even third jerseys. Actually, if you watched my last video, the NHL is considering allowing 2 alternates. So I think if they actually did that, they could keep a more traditional alternate, which would make me very happy, and they could go try the odd new thing for a second alternate, which I think would appease a lot of people. And you know what? That would actually be something that I too could live with. But, you know, I'm honestly going to miss Reebok. I mean, some of the alternate jerseys they've come up with over the years, the teams that have gone to far better looking uniforms since Reebok has taken over. I mean, even the Boston Bruins, you know, they have two of the best uniforms in the NHL because ever since Reebok took over. I mean, I would not want Boston to really change much ever again. Honestly. And, you know, overall, I mean, you see the teams like the Oilers, the Penguins, I mean, the Islanders and Flyers in St. Louis. I mean, multiple teams have got much better uniforms and significant jersey upgrades since Reebok has taken over the NHL's jerseys. And I just think that when Adidas takes over, a lot of that progress is going to be gone. And another thing, too, I don't like their new collar design, where it kind of has the bit of that half and half look, where it's got half of one thing on the back of it, and then it's just bare on the front, where it's either got an overlapping collar like the Islanders' third jersey, the Brooklyn one, or like the World Cup of Hockey jerseys, where instead of there being a stitched-on insert behind the collar, it's now just part of the collar. And I just don't like that style of look. I just don't. And that was also a pet peeve of mine about the Philadelphia Flyers Stadium Series jersey as well. And also, I mean, even last year's Stadium Series uniforms, I mean, Colorado's was very plain and simple. No waist striping at all. Detroit's had a big giant diagonal sash on the front, but absolutely nothing on the back. And the Minnesota Wild, I mean, even their jerseys, very nice uniform, overlapping collar instead of a lace-up or a regular Reebok edge collar since 2007, which I thought was actually a great idea to use. It actually looks really good. And no waist striping. Even the Chicago Blackhawks in that game. The shoulder numbers, that's also become another trend. And then you got these oversized stripes on the arms. And even the Florida Panthers copied that, where instead of oversized stripes on the arms, they've got their captain patch. They've got a captain patch, and instead of a shoulder patch, they've got their secondary patch, or secondary logo on the arms instead of the shoulders. And they've got their numbers on the shoulders instead of the arms where they usually go. And it's just stuff like that, in my opinion, is just not very good. And I know it's a matter of opinion, guys, and I'm sure you know by now, but this video was more about my personal opinion, my personal feelings on the fact that Reebok's leaving, and why I'm honestly going to miss them once Adidas takes over. But hopefully, Adidas will prove me wrong, and hopefully they will leave the good uniforms alone and will fix the uniforms like the Avalanche's home and away jerseys and the Calgary Flames home and away jerseys and any other jerseys across the NHL. I would even say the San Jose Sharks that need a real facelift. And hopefully they could take the Carolina Hurricanes and give them the hurricane stripes around their waists of their home and away jerseys once again. But anyways, I mean, I just think that there's been a lot of good progress since Reebok has taken over the NHL. And I just hope that when Adidas takes over that they don't wreck those good things, the good changes that Reebok has made since they have taken over. But anyways, guys, with that's it for this video, and those are my thoughts on why I will miss Reebok making the NHL's jerseys. And this is also the end of my 50th video. And I want to take a moment to thank all of you viewers out there for inspiring me and encouraging me to make more videos, to get me to the point where I'm here right now. making my 50th video on YouTube. So with that, you guys, that's it for this video. And as always, until my next video, which I do plan on putting one together for New Year's Eve, on top of a Vegas video. Either it'll be a Vegas video, or it will be a Vegas video about the Vegas Golden Knights and a New Year's Eve, New Year's Day special. But anyways, until I get to work on those, as always, take care and bye for now.